Nothing else would let you meditate. Silence here on Monday night is exceptional. So this is the last Monday night class this year. And I want to thank so many of you for being here tonight and for having been here through the whole thing, especially. As usual, I get far more out of this than you guys do. And I had a year of a lot of growth in a lot of areas, and hopefully it will be reflected in the work. Well, some of it is already reflected in the work we're doing here, and some of it will be in what we're doing next year. We will start again on Monday, January 9th, and we'll start a book reading again. And it'll take as long as it takes to read through the book. That'll probably take us through most of the first quarter, and then we'll start these informal meetings for I don't know how long. And all I really know about them is that next year is the year for breaking concepts. The goal is to get rid of every concept, and I think that's probably more than a year's work, but actually you can do it in 1 second. Keep them gone. It's like you can exhale for 1 second too, but after the first minute or two, inhaling becomes desirable. Anyway, that's where we're going next year, and that's as much as I know. This class is unfolding, and the last flashcards have been for me. I don't have to think about the class, and I don't know what it's supposed to look like, and we're all doing the best we can. And tonight's flashcard especially. So it's all effortless. I might mention that there's also flyers on the table over there. Workshops are starting on January 7th and 8th, the Kid and the Script workshop, and they're almost full. So if you want to do that, be aware. And before that is Dulcie's retreat. Sarah retreat is from Wednesday through Sunday on Sunday, New Year's Day, the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's a silent retreat up at the Sarah retreat. And Tony Titchall has announced his Los Angeles class will be at the end of January. And because of that, because several of us go, last year there were 10 or 12 of us there actually, and because of that we're going to have that weekend open, so it doesn't affect Monday night, but we'll skip Saturday and we'll skip the Scripts and Kid class that weekend so that people that are doing Scripts and Kid work don't have to miss and can go do that, so that'll be fun. And Diane's starting a Artist Way workshop, which is nicely done in convention with the Kid workshop, and that starts mid or end of December? January. So there's a bunch of work going on. They're coming up and starting next year. And also the meditations here on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday night continue straight through. We never don't do those, so that will continue to be here. So feel free to play wherever you're led to play. There's all this stuff going on. It's all good. Tonight's flashcard, or last week's flashcard, was everybody is always doing the best they can. And I hope most of you realized that that included yourselves on the list. And let's spend the first half hour, 45 minutes sharing, and then I'll give you the Christmas flashcard, which you'll love, I'm sure. So, did anybody find anybody that wasn't doing the best they could?
I didn't.
Oh, good. Lots of them?
No, just one.
Just the one. You?
Okay. No, I was. But I I thought everybody else was, and then that's just one person. And I had to call my sponsor and go, that's the best she can do? That's the only thing she could do. For some reason, I just couldn't get her. And it made life extremely painful. It was really just crappy. But I have some tools. I disengage, physically leave from her. It's a kid thing. The kids just won't believe it. Kids can't believe it.
Does your kid understand that when I say somebody's doing the best they can, that I don't mean that their intention is necessarily the same as yours, that they're doing the best they can to do what it is they're trying to accomplish, and it has absolutely no relationship to right or wrong or ethnically correct or any of the nonsense, you know. It really means essentially, if we get way down inside, I think we probably find that all we really want to be is happy. All we really want is everlasting, uninterrupted happiness, but even short-term happiness, okay? And the flashcard in its 3D sense really means that everybody is always doing exactly what it is they think will make them happy. With no thought about whether it'll make anybody else happy or whether it's legal or illegal or moral or immoral or evil or saintly. That's irrelevant. The question is whether it'll make me happy. I'm sure that people who kill people do so because they think it'll make them happier. People who rob banks because they think the money will make them happier. People who get married because they'll be happier. People who get divorced because it'll make them happier. So it's all about being happier.
Well, how much someone just acts like an ass?
Well, that's to your definition. That's your concept of ass.
But if everybody else in this room were there, they would say, oh, she's an ass.
That's irrelevant. She's doing what she needs to make her happy. She's doing the thing she thinks is best to make her happy, given her lack of understanding of how it works, and given her lack of understanding of the fact that she's creating her own world, or any of these highfalutin metaphysical stuff that we talk out, and also ignorant of the fact that she's completely dominated by her scripts, and also ignorant of the fact that she's completely dominated by her resistance behaviors, and also completely ignorant of the fact that she has no choice about all the stuff she's doing. The fact is, she's undoubtedly having an endless script event, and she's paralyzed because of a terror which she may not even be aware of, but which is completely dominating her life and determining her resistance behaviors, and her resistance behavior may be the assholeish. But it's entirely because, well, a lot of resistance behaviors are pretty assholeish. And they're entirely dictated by the fact that she thinks if she doesn't do that, she'll die. Being an asshole is the best she can. It's from there that this comes. It doesn't come from the nicest they can or the most productive they can, according to my definition. We used to have a guy who was really unhappy because his workers weren't doing the best they could. Because he knew things they could do that would make their output more productive, yada, yada, yada. And the fact was, of course, that they weren't interested in output. They were interested in paychecks and kicking back, you know. So, does that help a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, and you know, this is so funny. I've done, just one script and tape class, and she worked like here.
You did the best you could, didn't it?
I truly did. She works here and like there, and then I have a computer that sits between the two of us, and so my kid like makes faces. I go, you know what? As best I can. Makes her feel good. She can't see me. I'm like, okay.
I used to leave your kid at home.
I've never thought of that, Lee. Never thought of that.
Yeah, she doesn't need to go to work.
I'll try that tomorrow. Leave her at home. Good idea. Who else? Who else?
Yes.
Well, I thought this kind of goes along with what we're doing, at Christy's house, the acceptance, the kid work.
Yeah.
Maybe not, I don't know. And I had a hard time with it. Really, really hard time. I still kind of am, but, I'm a teacher, and so I've used it with my students a lot. And I guess I knew it wasn't really working for me when I would have a reaction, or when I was going through kid stuff and wasn't able to know that I was doing the best that I could or accepting myself, then there would be, to me, that suffering if I'm not accepting myself and knowing that, everyone's doing the best they can. So, and then I used it a lot, and it has helped a little bit. Like I do feel my Christy yesterday a little tiny bit more, teeny tiny bit more. So I don't have the physical stuff today. I got a lot of headaches and, body stuff. And I wasn't sleeping, but that's gone away a little bit. So it was challenging. Yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah. For some reason, I've heard this flashcard so much, I thought it was going to be a really easy one. And like all the flashcards, what I see that I do is, I'm mostly okay with it for everybody, but there's a few situations of people I just don't want to have that be a part of. Like I put them over here. Everybody else in here can do the best they can, and this person doesn't even fit in any group to even be considered that. It's really interesting. And it's usually the people or the situations I put out here are the ones where I still practice my resistance behavior. I saw that completely, which is amazing. Absolutely. Then I had another interesting thing, because today happened, and it was interesting. I think it was Greg last week talking about not wanting to get involved in like a conversation in world stuff. And, right now, there's this, I don't watch the news, but if you even live in the world and people walk through your room, oh, did you hear, and yada, yada. There's this big thing whether they could execute this guy or not. Well, when you have a whole table full of believing that they should, and you say, he's just doing the best he could. Oh, God. And I really believe that about this person. It's interesting. I can separate myself from people that I don't know and really know that truth. It didn't go over very well anyway. That's probably why my voice is gone. But anyway, I had to get out of that one quickly. But the people closest to me, it's very hard to practice that. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, this supposed murder, I really know in my heart that he was doing the best he could. But the people close to me, again, it's where I practice my resistance behavior. I have a very difficult time. I don't even, what it is? My teenager doesn't even want to give him a chance to be.
Doesn't want to cut him that much slack.
Absolutely not. And that's what it is, and I see that, it's like, so I kind of got that today, and there was a few people with more peace in my life when I get that, because I don't like living and thinking things should be different. It's just too painful. So it's kind of interesting. But it's definitely, it's one that sounds very simple to me, but I don't think the world's ready for it. I mean, the whole world.
It doesn't matter whether the world's ready for it. The fact is you master is taking the form of my thought. And if you master, I don't know how this should go. And if you master, everybody's always doing the best they can. You won't have a ripple on the surface of your pond.
But does that mean, like, people won't say stuff anymore, or because, like, okay, I'm having the same lunch, and I'm there where you say it, I'm just like a total blessed. Will no one even bring that up, or will they bring it up and I will?
What difference does it make whether they bring it up or not?
Well, I guess
They're going to bring something up.
So could this be a concept?
Oh, definitely.
So
everything's a concept.
even the flashcards.
Flashcards are very 3D.
So I just, I was talking to here, I just don't understand if we're already bliss, why we just not that.
You are.
I know.
How's that work for you? How's that working for you?
I don't know it. I knew it, I wouldn't have any of these questions.
Yeah, so there's no sense even talking about that, absolutely.
True, I'm leaving.
No sense even talking about that, talk about where you are.
No, that's where I am, but it's very interesting.
No, I mean, so they're talking about whatever they think about this guy, they just admit saying, oh.
So if I have any reaction, though, I still have concepts.
You have an opinion.
Yeah. But my opinion gets higher than theirs.
Always.
Because mine's a flashcard that you gave me sitting around my desk. So mine seems better.
And you feel free to share that.
Yeah.
You can know the truth without sharing it.
That's true.
But the great way is not difficult for
Those
those
who have no preference.
who have no preferences.
Okay, it was interesting. It was good work.
Yeah, we're just making a pass through these. We'll get serious about this stuff next year. But these are fundamental truths that several of us are played with a lot. And if you always know these, then you don't react. This is what we're really doing, is getting away from reactions. Reacting now. And if you don't know how it's going to be, you can't react to the fact that it's wrong or right. If you know they're doing the best you can, you can't possibly react about how they're doing things. And it doesn't mean that it's acceptable. It doesn't mean you have to include it in your life or anything like that. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the fact that they're doing the best they can. Well,
I started to get that a little bit because I started to get it. See if I don't know if I got it. Share it and tell me if I got it. I was watching a history thing on John Wayne Gacy, who was some serial killer who killed like 30 teenage boys or something like that,
see, now that was the best he could. He might have got 40, right?
And I really got it, that this guy was doing the best that he could. And that he was fully in his humanhood and doing just the best he could.
And it was a good number. That's a hell of a run.
And what I got is that him and I, when I'm in my humanhood, it's just a degree difference. I really got that. Today I got it really big that, it's just a varying degree of humanhood. It's no better than or, worse than, so he's murdering, and I'm doing other stuff.
And you did that last lifetime.
Very possibly.
Oh, you did.
And probably.
Yeah, I mean, everybody did.
And so I really started to get that. And I thought that was good.
Yeah.
And I was saying that.
Great. Yeah. The sequence is that we come in, form is created totally simple, ignorant, asleep. And we come in and we have absolutely no spiritual awareness and no knowledge of how it works and no understanding of what's going on. And all sorts of really terrible things can happen to us, and we're capable of doing all sorts of really terrible things because we don't know any better, and that's the ultimate in ignorance, There is no, at that point, there's no good and bad either. When you're totally ignorant, there's no good and bad. There's no evil and good. And eventually, that thing which is causing us the most trouble, we manage to work through it. And we figure out, we manage to rise above our attempted solution at that because it doesn't work and it doesn't work and it doesn't work. And so we rise slightly consciously, okay? And when we rise consciously, we're at operating at a different plane now. And the beliefs have changed, so the world manifests differently. And so now that particular terrible thing can't happen, okay? And we can't do those particular terrible things. And still things that are pretty horrible can happen to us, and we still do pretty horrible things, But the point is that the really worst ones can't happen anymore because we've risen above that, and it's not in our consciousness, okay? So now we work on the next one, and then we work on the next one, and every time we go up in consciousness, every time every false belief that we have disappears, every time one of those goes out, and we clean up a concept or clean up a belief, then a set of terrible things can't happen to us, and we're no longer capable of doing such terrible things. So we're just rising and rising and rising, but the process is we're learning, we're rising through trial and error and through proving what doesn't work and through a very painstaking, thousands of lifetimes worth of work, making progress, and we're just getting rid of our ignorance. And that's all it is that we're eliminating points of ignorance, false beliefs, one by one. So yeah, I mean, every time we move up a step, then there's something else that we're not capable of, and there's something else that won't happen to us. And so all we're observing the fact is where we are in the process, I mean, how much ignorance has been removed and how much is still to go. And there's absolutely no right or wrong or good or bad or accomplish. None of us had any choice about accomplishing this, we learn it the way we learn it. Very, it's a really stupid play God wrote, I mean, yeah.
Keeping with the Tookie Williams, John Wayne Gacy's theme, I'd like to introduce my mother. I had a dinner Friday, and I made the mistake of putting curry on my food, and it just flooded through me that there was a memory that came, particularly a painful memory. From the original script, the 10 greatest hits, and I realized that she was doing absolutely the best she could at that moment, and that never ever occurred through me before. So I get that one, and of course I take another bite of curry, and I go through about another 3 or 4 on the greatest hit list before I just kind of push the food away. But it was amazing that just that one little linchpin popped all the way through those. And it was just like, whoa. Because those were the, some of the dearest held ideas about you.
And as a result of that, the question of forgiving her doesn't even arise anymore, does it?
No, it's just a matter of whether I'm clean, she feels I'm clean with her or not.
Yeah.
And that was really, I think, the kind of thing that brought it around is the question of whether if she thought I was harboring anything wrong.
Yeah.
So.
You see, if you really see that everybody's always doing the best they can, there went the only pin that was underlying forgiveness. I mean, this is the ultimate. We talked about forgiveness a few weeks ago, but this is the ultimate in there, I mean, there can't be anything ever to forgive. There never could have been anything to be forgiven. Now apply that one to yourself. Take that one right to the center, because I'm talking about you and your relationship to yourself, not to everybody else, and them too. But far more important is that you have never done anything for which you need to be forgiven or for which you need to forgive yourself. Because you've always been doing the best you can. Good. That's true.
I did a forum like 18 years ago, this thing called Live Like S. And I've had some experiences for a long time. And, but recently what I find is, what I used to do is I'd have to explain myself. Like I'd do something, and I'd go, well, but you don't understand, I used to do this, and this time I just did this. And the forgiveness of myself, like, my dad and I had, if you want to call it a conversation, it was kind of him making a suggestion and then pushing, Like you said, I suggested this and then called me 10 times in one day. Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? And I was trying to tell him, well, that's not really a suggestion when you push afterwards. And, but the conversations that I have, but I'm saying with just having this in my consciousness of everyone's doing the best they can, there was a drama a couple of weeks ago with me and another member of the club, and he basically started fighting with me, and I called him on it. And the next day he sat there, like in front of the whole group of people, saying, "You're a piece of shit, motherfucking loser, blah, blah." You know, he just, and I just sat there and went, you know, whatever. But, you know, obviously he was doing the best he could. But then, you know, look at the spiritual growth that you were kind of talking about. This guy used to say those same words to himself and spit in the mirror at himself. And then say those words. And this time, he was just saying them to someone else, but it was not at him. So there was like growth there. And then for me, you know, I've been in maybe 3 fights in 10 years. And I used to always have to explain myself. Well, you know, the reason I like this is because I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. I got guns in my face 10 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And now I guess would be the resistance behavior to take away the fact that I'm doing the best that I can. And that's kind of melted away since I've been doing this work this past, you know, maybe year. So it's really kind of, it kind of just melts into you. You know, I'm still kind of addicted, you know, now and again. But I'm not explaining why my behavior is the way there.
Sure.
It's cool.
Cool.
I listened to the class last week, and I kind of the same experience I am. Like I have on my cell phone when I turn it on, my greeting is everyone doing the best you can. They can, ... this means you. That's my greeting on my phone. And lately when I turn it on, I like intentionally don't look at it when it turns on because I don't want to see that message. And when I heard that this was the flashcard for the week, I was like, oh, okay, well, I've heard that for 2 years now in AA, you know, won't be a problem. And it is, because I feel horrible that this is only the second class that I've made, you know, for the Monday night class, and I don't even feel worthy to share, you know. And it's like I had to like, tell myself, and tell my kids this morning, like, you know, choose better than none. And, like, apparently that was all you could do. And but to say it with authenticity, and, you know, that's the hard part. And I realize I do go around, and I expect the people closest to me, you know, especially the person I'm dating, I want them to see, I'm doing the best I can, you know, but I say it victimly. And, you know, I realize you're not going to, it's not even about that. It's like, I'm not realizing I'm doing the best I can. But I'm wanting them to do it, to realize that. And it's like, I don't believe it. And I was telling this to people, you know, I would say, you know, well, you're doing the best you can, and my sponsor pointed out, you know, if you don't really believe that, it's probably going to come across as condescending. And I realized that it was. I was like, oh, you're doing the best you can. And that's how it was, because I didn't believe it about myself. So I just, like, kept my mouth shut. I don't say that to anyone anymore, because I don't believe it about myself. And until I internalize it, if I say that to someone, it's going to come across as obvious I don't believe it. You know, so it was really, it's been challenging for me to realize this week I am doing the best I can, and I had a test today in school, and last night it was huge. I had to talk on the phone the whole way here to meditation just so I wouldn't turn the car around and go home, because my head says, you can never study enough. Spiritual practice has nothing to do with career. And I knew that, part of me knew, my adult knew that probably the best preparation I could do for the test at that point was to come to meditation. And so I came here, and I took the test today, and I didn't fail. And, you know, that's a huge, contrary, you know, example to show my kid it's okay. But, yeah, the doing the best I can is huge. It's just, like, internalizing it and being around people that really believe that about themselves is refreshing.
You didn't do constructive stuff, though. I mean, when you, like, being here calling me too, okay? And thinking that's not the best you could. So go back and find the situation in which you made a choice that wasn't the best choice you could make in that moment. Find the time over the past 6 months in which you made a decision that wasn't the best decision you could make in that moment, given your priorities in that moment, and your fears in that moment, and your terrors in that moment, and your insecurities in that moment, and your yada, yada, yada. Find which decision wasn't the best one you could make. You know, the problem is that you sit there and say, well, if I had just looked at myself 4 months ago and realized that it was spiritual growth, you know, that everybody knows spiritual growth is more important than, you know, and you can beat yourself up on that. But that's not what's going on. What's going on is you're not this spiritual adult person 100% in that place. What's going on is you're being driven by fears and terrors and anxieties and guilt and resistance behaviors and scripts and stuff like that. And given that arena, find the decision you made that wasn't the best you could. I mean, we're sitting there thinking about lofty principles on which we should be making decisions, and actually we're down here fighting for survival. Okay? All right? The point is that you were fighting for survival. Your kid's afraid that if she doesn't get straight A's on the test, she's going to die. And you're over here saying, well, if we just, you know, meditate more, and she doesn't see how that relates to getting straight A's on the test. And you're saying, well, straight A's on the test aren't as important as spiritual growth. And she's saying, we'll die.
Yeah.
Straight A's are more important than dying.
And the retreat was soul seed, you know. I wanted to go to it last year, and I didn't go. And now this year, it's just been crazy. Like, I finally had the envelope made out, and I put the stamp on it, and I'm like, okay, all I have to do is drop it in the mailbox. I don't have to accept it anymore. And you know, it's just, it is fear and stress, and it's, you know, I'm going to miss out, and it's all kid stuff. And it's like, I just walk free from this bondage so bad that I'm going to like, okay, we're going to walk through this chair, and whatever happens, happens. But I think of what you say, you know, 5, 10 years, this work is going to matter more than who you're with or what your job is, the spiritual work. Riding the coattails, so to speak.
Everything's all kid stuff. You know? The stuff that isn't kid stuff, we're not talking about. You know, we're just over in our corners blissing out about it. You know? Everything's all kid stuff. Look.
You know, to say, been in script a long time, and during this class, it was a little bit earlier, but this one just like, I could not take 100% responsibility, could not do it because of the stuff that happened really early, you know. I was weeks old and had a lot of abuse from my father, really awful stuff. And I wanted to, but I just couldn't do it. And I was about to take a bath, and it hit me like a thunderbolt. Why did he ever hurt his daughter? Like, it was so huge.
There was not.
Exactly. I just knew that, and it all dropped away. Mm-hmm. There wasn't any forgiveness. It was just gone. And that is miraculous, because I couldn't get the script stuff because I couldn't get that, you know. And it's different knowing it.
That is the script. The reason he couldn't not do that is because it was his script.
Yes.
It was your karmic dance he's dancing.
Yeah, we were both dancing.
Sure.
And, but knowing that, and in thinking I ought to feel that way, and then having that experience are really, really different. And I can't manifest that to happen. But I suspect coming right here helps.
Well, you know, the other thing is that several of us have played with especially these last bunch of flashcards off and on by ourselves, I mentioned it to one or two or three of you now and again. I'm sure that all people I sponsor have worked with each of them at least once. But it's entirely different when 20 of us are doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the shit hits the fan when 20 of us are doing it. Yeah, that's the game. That's the game with flashcards. We're all doing it. Then it's in the consciousness, and we're all looking for it, and we're, watching stuff to see if they're doing the best they can, and checking it out. And if you're willing to do the work, God's willing to bring it up.
I was just thinking that what preceded that, and I forgot about it, was about the physical pain, and you telling me that there was things that weren't forgiven. And I was, getting in the bathtub and just crying, I forgive you, just going through all the stuff, I forgive you. And then I was just standing there one day when that struck me. But it's the physical stuff, that lack of forgiveness. Lethal.
I was with my son today, and he has this little dynamic going on with this other little boy, where this little boy has a script about, I'll never be good enough, I'll always be rejected, blah, 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 until my son, totally reads the script, And painful, for me to watch. And yet I have this knowing that this kid is not a victim. He is radiating a script, and it is happening, and I was talking with Lee about this earlier today, and even though this rejection, this exclusion isn't okay with me, it's like I can't make it not happen. I can tell my son what my preference is, but I'm not going to pretend that my son is victimizing this kid, and I need to protect this kid and just buy into this whole drama thing. And I was able to talk to this mother today and kind of describe this to her, that her son has this thing that he radiates, and that other kids kind of react to, and she totally agreed. She said, "Oh yeah, I get it." And that they're having the experience that they're supposed to have, and that they're both doing the best that they can, and that I don't need to change it, but I can share my values with my son. I can share. I can suggest to him, I suggest that you give what you want, And if you don't want to be rejected, I suggest you don't do that. But, and then Lee said something great to me today. He goes, and when he has enough spiritual adulting gear, he might be able to utilize that information to him. But today, he doesn't, Which doesn't mean he can't say it.
No.
Right?
That's all perfect. Yeah, it was all perfect. And he's powerlessly reading the other kid's script.
Powerlessly reading the script.
And only a spiritual adult can not read the script. And that doesn't mean that he wants to be enough spiritual adult when he's 7.
Right.
He doesn't have to be a physical adult. He may figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah. And Steve and I often have this situation come up where, it'll be late at night, which is not the best time for me, and Luke throws popcorn on the floor for the 5th time, and I just lose it, and she will say something to me like, God, was some lunatic in our house last night screaming at 10 o'clock at night or something? And I just totally get it. I've been really I'm doing the best I can. You know what I mean? Sometimes I need yelling. Yeah. And even though, we've agreed, yelling, that's not part of our thing, and hitting our kids, that's not part of our thing. And guess what? It happens occasionally. But I've been really aware. I've not been in judgment about myself at all. And I just said to Steve, I'm like, yeah, 10 o'clock, you go to bed, and here I am with them, and I'm exhausted, and I'm a kid, and I don't want them to throw popcorn on the floor. But what I got today during our walk was, Luke's doing the best he can. Throwing popcorn on the floor is what he thinks he needs to do to make himself happy.
That's right, absolutely.
And it's just my idea that this isn't what should be happening.
That's right.
That's the problem.
That's always the problem, yeah. My idea, you hear that? It's just my idea.
Yes.
that he shouldn't be doing this, or that he's not doing the best he can, or that it should be different, or that I should think about this. It's my idea.
Yeah. So I started to become aware of a few ideas that I have. You know, I have this idea that Steve should, you know, express himself in a certain way, you know, verbally, to me and others, you know. And I had a lot of ideas regarding him about how he should spend his time and what he should be involved in, and those are just ideas floating through my head that cause me grief.
Right.
And so good. Just keep being aware of them.
What was that other thing you brought up this afternoon that was said last week that helped you so much?
You said, all you ever have to do in any situation is go within and come from the highest place you can.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been huge for me. Like, I've been telling that to everyone, as often as I can remember. All you ever have to do in any situation is go within and come from the highest place you can.
Isn't everyone doing that anyhow or not?
Not consciously.
Not consciously, no, certainly not. Most people never go within. Most people don't know what to go within, don't know how to go within. Because they're ignorant. But they are doing the best they can.
Well, I said a while back, you know what? I know if I hit this person, I'm going to go to jail. That was going within.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Why, did you hit him or not?
I hit him.
No, that was not going within.
Why not? I was doing the best I could.
Yeah, but had you gone within and gotten a solution, it would have been higher.
It's like that statement in the Big Book, pause when both were agitated.
You may have been going within, but you did not get that solution. The result of going within.
They're not like people. I always take a hold of those people.
You can hear that you didn't get that answer, but the answer that you would have gotten was something that would have brought harmony to both of you. See, that was a solution at the level of the problem, and had you gone within, you would have come up with a solution from above the problem that would have found harmony for both.
That's the same thing Barbara says, you know, like always ask yourself, like, what's the adult or loving thing to do?
Yeah, similar. That's sort of a quicker way of going within, if you know what the characteristics of an adult are.
Sometimes I know that, but you can't.
But if you really don't know what the adult would do, then you go within and get quiet and wait for the answer. And you can, by going in and getting quiet, you are rising above the problem. And suddenly, you will discover that the solution to the problem was inherent in the problem by its very nature. And in fact, the problem was the fact that you thought it was a problem. And when you see that it was just that you thought it was a problem, it will all be solved. And you will be above it. And the interesting thing is, the good news is that you will never have to deal with that problem again. Having dealt with it spiritually, you'll never have to deal with it again because you've mastered that one. You're now up that level. And that kind of thing can't happen to you again, and you won't do that kind of thing again. Whereas if you meet it at the level of the problem, either hitting the guy or not hitting the guy, you will be confronted with another opportunity to either hit him or not hit him, and another opportunity to either hit him or not hit him, until you rise above the problem and realize that it's your beliefs that are establishing that as a problem.
Isn't it also kind of the thing about inhaling and exhaling? It's like, if I can fall back into the human consciousness and get right back into that problem. You know, I may have like risen above it in one situation.
If you've mastered the problem, you've mastered it. When you master a problem, you will have seen it clearly. When you've seen it clearly, you've seen it clearly. If I go through life believing 2 + 2 is 5, and everything I build gets screwed up, and I keep falling off piers because they're put shorter than I thought they'd be, and stuff like that, my life is not working, and if somebody tells me it's 4 and I still think it's 5, and, sometimes I think it's 4 and things seem to work, and sometimes I think it's 5, but, and all that is now I'm still in humanhood, but if somebody ever comes up and says, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah! Okay? Now, never again will it occur to me that 2 plus 2 can be 5. I've seen it. It can't possibly be anything other than 4, and I see that clearly now. And I don't have to meet that one again. Now, I still have to deal with 6 and 7 being 14.
So as an example of that, like, there's all these different little pieces of the pie. One of them is like how germs are not a power, right? And once you get it about that, then you never, like, that's one area that's really clear with me.
If you can get that, yeah.
Okay, and another one is the whole death thing. Like, I have no reaction to that. And I sit in a meeting and somebody's blubbering on about death and blah, 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 and I'm just like, what? Nothing. And I don't ever anticipate that coming back. But there's certain little segments.
There are little segments.
Little pieces. And one of them, and it's done.
And you might not get anything quite as universal as germs can't. Germs have no power. You might get it that the flu virus has no power, and have nothing at all about strep throat. Okay, you might get it. I mean, you might get it that a flu virus has no power. The other thing that might happen is you might get it that germs have no power, but you might have a real deep karmic or script attachment to a particular manifestation, and it wouldn't solve that. Yeah, it's all very complicated. I mean, you know, what it boils down to is what you believe, what you really believe, and if the generic really believe covers all the details, then you win. But if it only covers part of them, you don't. You know. But what it boils down to is what you really believe is what's going to manifest in your life. And even then, you know, I mean, I clearly don't believe that germs have power. Okay, but if I don't keep my consciousness up, human mind is radiating. You know, human mind is consciously radiating, and if I'm not blocking it out, if I'm not remembering truth, if I'm ignoring, if I'm trusting, if I'm not keeping my mind focused on truth, it will default to focusing on what human consciousness believes, and I will start picking goals.
I think Robert mastered blowing a hole in that, but that's just me. If you go within, say like you glitch, then like you're going within, but then you glitch, then you haven't gone that deep enough.
I don't know why you would get a glitch as a result of going within.
Right, because I was saying, well, you know, I went within, but I did this anyhow. So apparently I hadn't gone within.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
I would not say that I have a glitch as going within, because glitch is kid.
Right, so that's what I mean.
If you had a click.
Yeah.
I go within and wait for the click.
Right.
You know what I mean by click?
Right, I got that.
And aha, that's what you're going within for.
So then when I glitch, it's almost too late then.
Yeah, you're in kid. Well, maybe, I mean, it's not necessarily too late. You can say, oh, there's a glitch, I'm in kid.
Right.
And you can, if you can, acknowledging that,
You know.
and say, oh, what I better do is hang my trigger and go to my room and get some diving gear.
Right.
You know, that would work. Maybe. Think in terms of general principles. You know, I mean, the specific details are not trivial. But the bottom line is trivial. What I believe is going to manifest in my life. And as long as I believe it, it's going to continue to manifest in my life. I can deal with it and 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 deal with it, because what I believe is what I'm seeing. And when I see that belief is false, when I truly see that belief is false, then I can't manifest it anymore. It has to go away. Because all I see is what I believe.
It's like riding a bike, how do you unlearn? That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, about what you were just talking about, I know you probably won't, it's about the sickness and germs having no power kind of thing. And Adele talking about all the years she felt she'd done forgiveness work on her father, but it finally clicked. But that was real. So, been doing, like, I totally don't believe in flu. I think I have it right now. So I must still believe in it at some level.
You think you have it, you must.
Maybe not. Maybe
But I didn't think I had it till I got it. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't walk around thinking about flu. I have kids around me all the time, and everybody, I hear them talk about it. And then all of a sudden, I'm sick, and so there's a part of me that's, oh, you have a flu.
Maybe you don't have a flu. Maybe your body does.
I mean, we have a flu. Yeah, no, I'm not beating myself up over it. I mean, I'm just saying, you know,
And the fact is that, you know, I mean, for instance, I can wake up, once in a while, I wake up in the morning and I have a little bit of roughness, you know, and I immediately look at that and say, oh, there must be a lot of belief in flu going around.
okay.
And
The world mind is strong enough to,
the world mind is out there.
even the best.
The world mind is out there. You can wake up in the morning in a panic. You know, you can wake up in the morning with great anxiety and have absolutely no reason, no understanding why, and you have no idea what's going on, and then 4 hours later at lunch somebody tells you what's going on in the world that has everybody in a panic that they've all been reading because you didn't read the newspaper or listen to the news, you didn't know about it. It's human consciousness, and the anxiety is out there, and the fear is out there, and you get it. There's only one consciousness, it's radiating. But when I feel the roughness, I really know that I don't get the flu. Okay? So when I feel the roughness, I immediately say, oh, carnal mind, human consciousness, world mind is really believing in flu right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my understanding. Now watch me find that fucking flu. Way too far out, you know. But you know, I mean, last time I did this, I cracked my elbow falling down the stairs. But the principle is, if I feel this, I feel a hint, and I immediately don't say, oh, I'm getting the flu. I say, wow, human consciousness is really strong right now. And with that, I've watched it because I've impersonalized it. It's not me. It's not real. And I know human consciousness has no power if it's addressed, if it's not accepted. So I've impersonalized it, I've nothingized it, and that seems to work for me on myself.
So when I heard you say, you don't even say that I'm not getting the flu, you say this is human consciousness.
Yeah,
so you don't even affirm the negative of it.
I said nonsense. Human consciousness is really strong.
Okay.
Please.
Just from my own personal experience, that I have a theory that I've developed just from my own work, is that I know that, you know, Barbara tells us that the kid really identifies with body, you know, and so I know for myself, I've made the connection that when I am moving through something or something needs to come up, because I no longer spew it on you, that what happens is when there's ever an internal conflict with myself, it manifests somewhere in my body. And that's just the way my kid gets my attention. So what that has done for me is and this is just a recent because I didn't even think that, I thought, well, it's all my consciousness. This is happening because my consciousness isn't strong enough. I wasn't even calling Lee for help because I didn't think there was a worth there for that. You know, it was like that was how deep, it was like very, very subtle. And then it's been almost now, let's see, Wednesday will be a week. I've been calling them every morning. And it's really become clear that it's all for my own spiritual growth. And what it's done too is it's kind of lengthened the belief of I am not my body for me. You know, it's like because when I would get sick, it used to take me down to where I would be flat out. I would be completely incapacitated. And now what it's done is it's gotten better. It's like I can have the appearance, but I can still go about my business. The the duration of my downtime is less. And I really made that, and like I just made that connection when you were just describing to Debbie, it gets better, like 6 months ago, aren't you doing, and then Mike made a comment tonight on the way over about, you know, when we were doing our practitionership work, that Mary Baker Eddy had a physical manifestation that's what drove her to her spiritual, you know, enlightenment. And it was like, you know, he one more time, he just reminded me that this whole thing, you know, that I have going on with my shoulder and nerve stuff and everything, it's all about that, you know? And then just what you said, really, like, I can't even remember the actual word. I want to ask you after class what you said, but I know the essence. I feel that what you said, it was like, oh, yeah, that's it, you know? So I know it's just my kids. It's my kids.
Yeah, there's no question that any physical impairment is kid. You know, it's always kid. That's all it can possibly be. It can't be anything else but kids. Just kid manifesting.
Yeah, because I know for me, I would really beat myself up when I would get sick. Like, you know, your consciousness isn't high enough, you're not meditating enough, you're entertaining erroneous beliefs or whatever it is, and it's just me really turning on myself, and it just manifests as physical stuff.
That'll keep you sick.
Yeah.
That's your kid off.
Yeah.
I'll show you. I'll shut you down completely.
Yeah.
I had,
Let me just go ahead. There's a lot of other stuff going on here too, though. I mean, you know, I heard a couple of Barbara tapes that I've been listening to the last couple of days. One thing is that, you know, when you're getting a healing, whether the healing succeeds or not depends a lot on how invested you are, or may depend on how invested you are in the problem, or how invested your kid is, or the depth of the karmic situation. You know, I mean, my playing with my left arm and now you playing with it too, that's undoubtedly karmic stuff, you know, that's going on. The other thing is that sometimes, Joel, when you would get a healing, people didn't get a healing, and they would discover subsequently that something else in them that they weren't even aware was a problem had been healed. Something else which was far more significant, so sometimes other work is going on. And the third thing that Barbara was saying is that sometimes you don't get a healing because the purpose of the whole situation be fulfilled until your spiritual consciousness was more awake. You weren't high enough yet to learn the lesson that this was about teaching you, okay? And so while the healing is going on, you're not getting you're not getting the specific healing right now. What you're getting is lifted into consciousness incrementally, click, 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 until finally you have enough consciousness that you get the lesson, because it's not one that's trivial for you to get. So there's a lot of stuff going on here too, you know.
Which is what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not really a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Your higher self wants it for you. But clarity, right? Illumination.
That's what I want, yeah. Joel also says that if all I do is give you a physical healing, I haven't given you anything that's any better than you could have gotten either spiritually, or either mentally, or materially. Yeah. If you come to me with flu and I give you a healing, how is that better than taking an aspirin?
Wow.
And Joel says that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I give you a physical healing. Why is that better than surgery or a shot, or why is that better?
The universe really supports us in our growth.
It requires it.
It does
support it.
Yeah.
If you call a foot in your butt, support.
But so a lot of times, I mean, it's like I remember I used to get sick because I wanted a vacation, and I thought that was the only way I could get a vacation.
Your kid thought so.
Yeah, my kid did.
My kid's parking you for a vacation. Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
But now it's like I can see from, where sometimes, I mean, if everything's going good, we're not going to sometimes step to the next level. We're not going to.
Not going to sometimes hell.
We're not, exactly. So, I mean, all of this happens for, so to me, when stuff happens now in my life, I look at it as, I kind of welcome it, because it's inevitable it's going to happen. I'm going to be in the barrel again sometime.
Yep. Sure.
And it's just a way for me to practice the manifestation and change.
I'm going to get Andrew next and then back to Sean.
Well, what do you say about stepping in the next level? I missed that.
Well, because if everything is just calm and sweet in my life, then there's not going to be any reason for me to grow.
Oh, God, okay.
So,
All right. I didn't get it first time.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
See her
So my conflict is fine. Okay.
Unless you have enough grace in your life that you're experiencing that terrible thirst, you definitely need problems. Until you're growing, until you're driving yourself just because you have this insatiable thirst to learn truth, until you're there, then it's problems that drive you to go spiritually. And if you are there where you have that unquenchable thirst, that too is a result of grace, and it just means you're a step further than you were before. It's a gift. Let me get Andrew first and then back to you, John.
I think I'm really with you on this one. Like 6 years ago, way before I ever started doing this work, I decided that there was no more illness, and I haven't been sick in 6 years. And whenever I say that, I'll say to people, God, I haven't been sick in 6 years. I haven't had a cold in 6 years. And they're always like, don't say that. You'll get sick. And I go, nonsense. I mean, I really do. I think I use the word nonsense. I'm like, no, I won't. I won't get sick.
Nonsense.
And I had an experience last Saturday. I was having lunch with a friend. I hadn't seen her in a while. She's on a pretty high spiritual plane. And I was really having a great time. And I got suddenly some symptoms of the body was not happy with something that was happening. And it was a pretty sharp pain, like some sort of stomach flu or something. And I literally I didn't say a word to her. I didn't say a word. I didn't admit it. I didn't own it. I didn't buy into it at all. I took a couple of deep breaths and I continued with the conversation. And it lasted 20 minutes. I mean, it wasn't a pretty sharp thing, but, I just said, this is not going to, this is where I'm meant to be, having this conversation with this friend, talking about spiritual matters. This is it. Absolutely, you can do your best to pull me away from this, but it's not going to work. And it didn't. It just reinforces something that I believe.
We have absolute dominion. Once we have the consciousness to take dominion. But, you in that particular regard are taking dominion over your mind. You're not tuning into the AMA, you're tuning into your belief that you don't have that sort of thing. You're taking dominion over your mind with respect to that and are therefore determining your life in that area. And you can do that in every area of your life. Exactly the same.
Wow.
There's no difference. What did you have, son?
Well, I had my body went out Thursday at 2, and I was back at work Friday. The VP walks in my office and he goes, "You don't look like you've been sick at all." And he's just like flabbergasted. He's like, "Oh my God, that's incredible! I've never seen such a, And after like 30 seconds of it, he's like, "Okay." And then I got worse again, of course, just with him.
You're really because it doesn't like
But also, I tried for, I think, maybe 2 years. Okay, well, I just won't mind a false belief that I have a cold, and da-da-da-da. I was talking about this earlier. My neighbor, drug addict, alcoholic, user, and he hasn't been sick in 20 years. Here I am sober, and so I ended up having pneumonia, and I nearly died in another state. And then it drives 300 miles to the emergency room. We get there, I can't breathe. By the time I get there, I can't even breathe. I'm buying that Primatine Mist inhaler just because to open my lungs. And I have to take this actual elixir, whatever stuff, medication to get my body, whatever. And then I have to take these pills. When I'm 30, and I told you about this, I was 30,000 feet on an airplane, and the whole plane moves. And so I'm just way down. And I was doing self-inquiry the whole time on the medication, in the depth of my pneumonia. You know, my mind just not even present to, and then I just left. And I was really clear on all of this that's happening, the airplane, I'm not 30,000 feet in the air. I'm not in the airplane. My body's not having all this. And, you know, all is well and everything's unfolding exactly as it should. I use that sentence because everybody can relate to it. But I was really in that for a long time for the rest of the flight. And that was the lesson. Now, what my body was going through and whether the airplane was shuffling around or not, getting hit by lightning, wasn't my business. It was just an experience of, well, this is just part of it, you know, so I'm going to sit back and watch. That was the incredible lesson that I learned in that one. And I thought, I'll never be sick again. Which was the thought of, I'm going to get sick again.
Yep. It's after 8:30.
Yeah. I wanted to say, you know, you had said before, but I really got that all the physical stuff is rage. And it occurred to me this week, listening to Barbara too, that it was rage over my fantasy script not coming through. And so when that comes up now, the physical stuff, I get to go look at what fantasy am I rageful that didn't come true. And that's been extremely helpful.
For some people, the rage is because their fantasy script didn't come true, and for some people, the rage is because their script did come true. Over and over, and they couldn't stop it.
Both, yes.
And all sickness is not rage, but rage is certainly sufficient to cause all sickness. It certainly is the cause for all back pains and reoccurring pains and stuff like that, but all sickness is kid. In one of its manifestations, it's either a kid that's sick, or a kid that's pissed, or a kid that's in rage, or a kid that's trying to get your attention, or, you know, it is all kid. There's nothing else going on but kid and God.
Kid's the only one has rage, right?
And depression, and fear, and terror, and hope, and fantasy, and needs, and all that stuff. That's all kid. And it's not getting met. But sickness is the fact that your kid's needs are not being, your kid's perception of its needs are not being met. Its perception of its needs are not being met.
So kid is interesting as ego, or mine. I wasn't here when there was, if that were kind of with it.
Well, I'm not going to try to give you a one sentence.
No,
yeah, look at there's books over there on script and kid work, and you can certainly read and see what it's about, or you can go on the website and you can read about what the definition of script and kid. Anyway, we're off for 4 weeks, and the last card for the next 4 weeks is it'll all work out.
It already is.
All has been. It's working out. But that's the last card. It'll all work out. What now? Questions about that?
Doesn't that mean it's not working?
No?
Maybe you could drop off in prayer.
That's what one thing it means. It's really the same thing as everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You saw them on that. It all works out to everyone's highest good. That's true. You can complicate it if you wish. But highest good certainly is a concept. I like it. It'll all work out the way it's supposed to. That's a concept.
Everything's serving in your highest spiritual unfolding.
How about if it's all, it'll all work out. And if you look back over your life, you can see that that's true. All those things that were never going to end worked out. Whether or not you worked them out, it has, to this point, all worked out. You know, why can't kids really get that, though? Because it hasn't been guided sufficiently, loved sufficiently, and forgiven sufficiently. You have to get it.
Just keep saying that. I feel terrible. You know, like, it's weird, like, it'll all work out, like, I don't know why, and it just evokes, like, terror in me, but, yeah, I guess it makes me think you're sure again and worry about preparation, so, it's all gonna work out.
That's good plan. Not for a month. This is a good one for a month. It'll all work out. No matter what you're concerned with. Okay, thanks for coming. Love you all.